The Channel Islands extend dozens of miles off the coast of Southern California. These rugged, unspoiled harbors of wildlife are a photographer's dream, and the closest, Anacapa, is just 11 miles from shore. Anacapa is actually a chain of 3 smaller islands, but humans are only allowed on the eastern one. The other 2 are reserved for Mother Nature. To get there, you take a ferry out of Oxnard, which takes about 90 minutes. But you won't even have to wait that long to meet the ocean's ambassadors.
Nice.
Most people just come for a day trip, and 4 hours is plenty of time to see all the 2 Mile Island has to offer. But if you want to see the sunset from Anacapa, you have to commit to staying overnight, like I had. It's less than a mile from the ferry dock to the campground, but you'll need to bring your own food, water, and shelter because there are no services on the island. And it quickly becomes clear just how inhospitable this place could get. The lighthouse, built in 1932, is the tallest thing on the island, and I was the second tallest thing on the island because there are no trees or shelter of any kind on Anacapa. If you can manage without shade, though, you'll be treated to unobstructed, unbelievable views in every direction, and that is the second thing you'll notice about Anacapa. Try and guess what the first is.
That is nuts. Welcome to the creepiest place on Earth. This place is pretty much empty apart from what must be at least 1 billion seagulls.
If I sound at all surprised there, it's because in spite of all my research about things like what to pack and what time and where in the sky the Milky Way would rise, I'd somehow managed to overlook the fact that Anacapa is the largest breeding ground of western gulls in the world. The mating season starts in the spring, and by the fall the chicks are ready to leave the island. I'm here in July when they're nearly full size and hungry all the time. They're learning to fly, but in most cases can still only manage a few seconds of airtime, which leaves them the rest of the day to make noise. It's a weird but exciting place to be, enveloped on all sides by nature at its Darwinian busiest. Life on the island can be harsh, so like everyone else, I was just trying to survive.
Got about 4 good hours until hopefully the clouds part and I get a sunset. And I don't know, I guess I'll have to find something to do until then. Let me take you on a quick tour of my campsite. That's my tent. That's my table. And that is pretty much the soundtrack for the next 24 hours or so. This is a suicide wish right here. Eating a sandwich. I am eating chicken though. So maybe if they see me eating, one of their cousins basically, maybe they'll stay away. Compelling video, I know. Man eating a sandwich on a rock in the ocean. You can click over to something else, I would.
Hello, you little dinosaur.
If you do decide that you want to spend a night on a barren, windswept rock in the middle of the ocean surrounded by shrieking birds, you should at least be comfortable. To that end, I'd brought a special bag with me. The way it works is you sort of whip it around to fill it up with air, and eventually, after a while, when it's inflated enough, you close off the open end and have yourself a very comfy place to sit at the park, the beach, or even on the edge of the world itself. By late afternoon, the day trippers were making their way back to the ferry, and I was going in the other direction.
I think we've exhausted all there is to see around the campsite, but let's check out what's over at Inspiration Point, because I think I can see off in the distance there's some bright spots and it's starting to clear, and maybe we'll get something good.
Inspiration Point is the westernmost point of the easternmost island. It offers breathtaking views of outer Anacapa, as well as the other Channel Islands beyond, like Santa Cruz and Santa Rosa. And I had the place almost entirely to myself.
There's one other guy over there, his name's D, he's pretty cool. There's a pirate ship out that way, that's a little ominous. But overall, it is just about the most incredible landscape I've ever seen. It is still pretty cloudy, but there are some sun rays coming through off on the horizon. So I'm gonna head back to the campsite, get myself something to eat, and then we're gonna come back and have ourselves a feast of light. A feast of light! Gotta go.
Back at the campground, I boiled some water for a fancy Thai dinner in a bag and took a few minutes to shoot some B-roll. Badly. I was in a bit of a rush to get back over to the point because the skies were starting to look pretty epic. My new best friend D was keeping an eye on my time-lapse setup, and with every click of the shutter, I was starting to feel a little better about my life choices after all.
Oh my God.
Life is pretty good at the moment.
I got my cam, I got my bag, I got my pad CU, I got all that.
Honestly, it's hard to imagine photos doing this place justice, but still, it sure is fun to try.
Dundee. That was pretty special. If only briefly.
Okay, see you in the morning.
All night. Good morning from the Hitchcock movie that is my life. I'll tell you what the greatest miracle of this place is that so far, and I know I'm jinxing myself by saying this, but so far, I have not been crapped on. Hi guys. Morning. Over yonder is where the sun would be coming up most days.
I don't see it being the most vibrant sunrise, if I'm honest. But there's just no bad views on this whole place. So I'm hoping to get at least something. All right, so this is gonna be my spot for the morning. I like the composition, the way you got cliff sides in the foreground on the right, leading you all the way out to the islands on the left.
Kind of want to get it maybe a little bit higher in the hopes of possibly seeing more of the gap and that peak kind of right there.
so I can see more of the island. Yep. 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 Life and death on Anacapa Island. Okay, I'm really liking the way this is set up now. I think it needs one little visual point of interest though, kind of out on the cliffs over that way. And that's me. So this is my selfie spot. This looks pretty cool. What does not look pretty cool, looking back on it now, is my camera is like, oh my God, just sitting there. There it is. Woo!
Fortunately, my camera survived. Unfortunately, I forgot to change the shutter speed settings before I filmed this little wrap-up piece to camera. But the bigger mistake that I made was venturing a little bit too close to the nests.
Alright, I think that's gonna do it for the sunrise shoot. Not having it. The birds have actually started attacking me now, so I'm gonna head back to the campsite while I still can, and then just wait for the boat to take me home. Oh, God.
Oh, look at that one! It's one of the babies! Yes! Go, little buddy! As I made my way back to the boat to take me home, I watched in awe as creatures so new to this world made their way to its finite edge and hucked themselves off of it to explore what lies beyond. I'd come for the landscapes and the starry sky that never did reveal itself, but in the end, what touched me most was watching my roommates learn to fly. Anacapa is unlike any place I've ever been, and I can't recommend it enough. And yes, everything you see in this picture, all of it, it's all covered in shit.